Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Console Tier 1. We are here tonight for season number 17, and is round number 6 of the championship as we take in the Canadian Grand Prix from, of course, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. My name is James Head. As you can tell with the rush start to the stream, I'm taking you through the stream here tonight as your lead commentator. Gareth's stuck on the motorway somewhere. I'm sure he's on his way back home by now. Joining me in the commentary box, though, even though you can't see him, is the man who was probably disappear in the background given Leicester's performance earlier on. It was Mr. Shazoo. Joel, how you doing?
Oh no! Oh, I can't escape it. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all well. I am well-ish. I'm struggling a bit with my voice, but I'm glad to be here anyway for another exciting rendition of WR Crossplay Tier 1. Well, it feels weird talking to a pitch black screen, but hello.
He is here. I promise you he is here. It's just my camera is deciding to disconnect, or Discord's deciding to disconnect my OBS. So that is why you're not seeing him for now. We'll try and get his camera up in due course, but we are going to literally go straight out into the session because everyone is out there out on track. Macho and Tootie have got qualifying bands coming into tonight. Everyone is here apart from them two within this qualifying session. And Joe, remind us, of course, what happened last week with round number 4 of the season.
Yeah, qualifying late drama, as you mentioned. Joe Murphy was on for a pole position, but he was blocked by 2D and by Macho in the very same corner. Both of them obviously earning themselves qualifying bans for that incident. Joe Murphy started all the way down in P18 without a time on the board. The race was fairly straightforward. Most runners on hards. The only driver to really go opposite was Moba. He had a lap 3 collision with the wall, and Quantum, who barely made it past lap 6. He had a couple of misfortunes with the safety car timings, but he was able to rejoin the action late in the race because we did have 2 safety cars, one round about lap 10-ish and then one round about lap 20-ish, so it's segmented the race up nicely. Kai Pearson was your race winner on track, following a long, hard battle with his good friend Liam Bowman, but Kai Pearson was to be given a 3-second time penalty for a collision with NVR Gavor on the opening lap. That dropped him from first all the way down to fourth, and I say all the way down because he very much knows that without penalties to his name this season, he'd have 4 straight wins.
He would have 4 straight wins indeed. Of course, Kai has been featuring as part of NVR's lineup in Legacy Division as well. He invalidated that lap time there as well, which is not a good start for his session. Good start for the session though for NLR Tim, the man who of course got pole position in PSGL PSF1 in Austria. Joe Murphy, however, going quicker than him right now. So the Irishman out on top, or the fake Irishman, I should say, out on top. Tim there in second. I'm aboard Gabor on the run now down the straight into the wall of Champion Chicane. Good evening to Ron, good evening to Jensen, good evening to Cameron's dad there, Mr. Jimmy Dowds himself there in the chat. We've got a Jim and Joe in the commentary box as well. It's all the J's here tonight, apart from Ron there in the chat, as Gabor now comes to the line, goes third with a 109.479. Disappointing from his perspective. Cameron Dowds, by the way, speaking of Mr. Jammy Dowds, there in the comment section, here is his son on track right now, the Scotsman, Flying Scotsman 2.0 as I nickname him, coming through the final corner on the run to the line with Cameron Dowds, who will P2 around here in PSGL PSF1, and he goes third early on in qualifying session. But judging by everyone getting out on track very soon indeed in terms of qualifying and going on to that Telesoft compound tyre, I have a feeling, Joe, that we could be in potentially for a little bit of rain in the session.
Yeah, it's overcast. The track has that weird shine, doesn't it? It looks like it's prepared for a rain shower at any point. It's interesting to see how quickly after these first runs the drivers come out again. I'm sure that they'll be targeting 4 runs wherever possible if they've gone for the softer selection of tyres. Of course, gambling on a restart in that case as well, with the 5-place grid penalties coming into play. But again, I'm not sure what the overall outlook is on the entire race. Tim, on the other hand, in P2 at the moment, he also had an exceptional performance when we raced here in EOR. He put it on pole on his debut race for NLR, and went on to win after a late race fight with Flopman. Flopman was punished for a push to pass. So it'd be good to see those two on track again amongst some other fascinating individual battles.
Yeah, definitely so. Some fascinating individuals, I've got to say, out on track as well. NLR Ryan was one of them, but he's actually came back into the pit lane. We've got drivers going out there on a second run on that set of soft compound tyres. And Sunday's just trying to glint through the clouds here at the Circus Gilles Villeneuve. Currently out on top, Joe Murphy from Tim there in second. Cameron Dowds there in third. Evan already putting more money, I think, on to for Tim to win the session than Leicester to win the whole season in the championship. Joe Murphy out on top in the session, Tim in second, Cameron Dowds there. I have to get the slander in. Sunderland won, so I'm feeling very smug coming into tonight. Mr. Joe alongside me in the commentary box feeling not so smug because he might end up in the playoffs with his team at this stage. However, we're going to now tuck back into the action straight away. We're not going to give Joe any more slander for Leicester City in their poor performance. Choco on the run now down in towards turns 3 and 4, and we'll ride you on board with this lap time from Choco as he comes through the end of this first sector split. A 19.3 in the first sector from him. Joe Murphy out on top, Tim in second, Cameron Dowds in third. 11 minutes to go in this session as Choco. Speaking of which, Easter coming up, he might be getting himself filled up with chocolate, but hopefully he can put on a good performance tonight in Canada. Not like that though, coming through turns 8 and 9.
Well, he's not, because he's fasting for Ramadan. so...
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. There we are.
Let's see if you can see James right now. He is just collapsed in his seat because of hearing that. It's fine though. Choco, on the other hand, coming down in towards the Wall of Champions for the first time this evening. Attacking both curbs is valid. That's one of the hardest things about this circuit. You do all the hard work, then it's about not invalidating. Choco to the line. Choco 10th and slowest of everybody. The other hand, we've got some good laps coming in actually. Shazoo Tom is one of them. Again, coming down in towards the, not bus stop chicane, the Wall of Champions. I feel like I've said bus stop once or twice this evening. They're all famous chicanes. They all do the job in breaking up the circuit. That was the last part of it. Tom goes third and ahead of his Shazoo teammate Cameron Dowds.
Flying Scotsman on the run to the line, and Liam Bowman there going 5th position as well, 109 flat. You can tell I am literally pretty much hot-footed into this commentary box tonight because I didn't know Choco was fasting for Ramadan. Good that he is, of course. We all accept every single, in terms of religion and in terms of everything like that, and it's always good, I think, to have drivers like that. Obviously, giving them all, even though they're fasting for Ramadan like Choco is. He's down in 14th position, 109.6, might have an effect potentially on performance, but he is there, and he's still in this grid, and that's what we can certainly commentate on here tonight. But Joe Murphy out on top, Tim in second, Tom there in third. Tom is back there for second and third right now. Kai Pearson was on a lap time, but he's actually invalidated his run. Ryan just starting on his run, and Quantum and Euron also on runs as well. Euron just invalidating through the first sector split. Quantum, however, they're in 18th position. The McLaren man on the run now down in towards turns 8 and 9. Joe Murphy out on top, Tim in second, Tom there currently in third. Jensen saying James like gonna let him talk. I'm not. Considering Sunderland won earlier on, I'm not going to let him talk, to be honest. Quantum coming through the middle sector, though. 40.8 in the middle sector. This is a good lap coming in from the McLaren man.
Honestly, my whole weekend is just ruined already. I don't know what more to respond to anything that you're saying, really. Well, with Liam Bowman 5th, by the way, Gabor has just gone 6th. And I did want to just get in a quick word on Liam Bowman because inherited his first win of the season last week. He wasn't yet able to win from pole at any point. He's got controller issues tonight. It will be a massive struggle for him. I think he's reporting some sort of drifting down the straight, so he's applying some lock, which you do need down the straights because there are kinks in them, and he's sort of going full lock when, of course, that is not meant to happen. So he is racing. He will be liable for any collisions. They will be quite severe ones if that controller does start playing up.
Yeah, definitely so. I've had controller issues in my league racing as well, so I know fine well what he's going through right now. But he's in 5th position, 109.8, 109 flat even from him. Not a bad lap at all from him, considering Cameron Dowds is, 100th ahead of him. Tom there, 300th ahead of him, not looking too bad at all. Neither is Zozo on this lap time. Gabor there is retired in the pit lane, I believe. He's there 7th, very happy with his current lap time at this moment in time. It is more understeer now that he is reporting as well, so that could be a bit of a concern moving forwards. Also now on the run now down into the Wall of Champions chicane. The Alpine man in towards the final couple of corners through turns 13 and 14. Now on the run to the line. I will fix the the audio in just a second. Also there in 8th position, won a 9.153. Not a bad lap there at all from home. But Joe Murphy out on top, Tim there in second, Thomas Covers there in third. Definitely Covers coming off on his session so far. Believe he might be one of his first appearances, I've got to say, in Console T1. Doing a good job. Flopman there's now splitting Joe Murphy and Tim, so not a bad lap there at all from him. And Thomas Covers there in 5th. I think this is his first appearance that I've certainly seen him in WOR Console T1.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't have anything on him from the first 4 rounds of the season, so a pleasant surprise and a good debut performance so far. You mentioned Gabor retiring in the pit lane. I'm not sure why, because it's short qualifying. So maybe there's just something else that he needs to attend to rather than just being happy with that lap. So we'll investigate what happened to Gabor. NLR Tim has just hit the wall quite aggressively, coming out of turn number 4 there as you head down the hill. I'm not sure if he's picked up any damage. Might well benefit him down these straights, as we all know very well from the Las Vegas sort of circuits and the Bakus from last week. Into turn 8 and 9 for NLR Tim. Again, picking up more understeer, clipping some grass on the exit. It's been a rough lap. Middle sector split will be quite telling. He's improving. Goodness me, he is finding time where you'd very least expect it at the moment. Coming round the hairpin then at turn number 10. The kink of 11 is the right hand of the DRS opening up. There's an AlphaTauri up ahead of him. Both cars in front should be coming into the pit lane and should steer clear of NLR Tim. They have brilliant run through the final couple of corners, past the wall of champions, short run to the line. NLR Tim, did he invalidate? I think he did. Yeah, it's sort of blended in with the hash chassis, so I couldn't quite tell. It was too much inside curb, I think, at turn 12.
Yeah, it was turn 13 actually through the right-hander. Kai Pearson though, 108.798 goes to 10th. Clear of Joe Murphy there in second. Flopman there in third. And Yaron also on a lap time right now, 19.113 through the first sector. Not a bad first sector at all from the Dutchman. 41.2, however, though, in the middle sector from Yaron. So clearly going to be further down the field, it seems. But Kai Pearson now out on top. Joe Murphy there in second. Flopman there in third. Let us know in the comment section where you're supporting from, who you're supporting here tonight, and who you think is going to get pole position. I'm immediately going to go Flopman, I think, for pole position there in third, a 108.934. Good, strong drive around here in PSGL PSF1. Yes, he was involved in an incident. Why he normally isn't involved in an incident, let's be honest. Yarono to the line goes 17th, 109.411. Quantum on an out lap as well. I think Choco and Lou have just came off their laps as well. 14th and 15th position for them respectively. But Kai Pearson out on top. Joe Murphy there in second. Flopman there in third. Less than 5 minutes to go now in the session. And that means Kai Pearson, for now, is out on top. Gabor, you mentioned, they're down in 9th position. He hasn't lost as many positions as what I might have thought on those runs. Zozo on an outlap behind him, along with Schumacher potentially going to be coming out of the pit lane as well. But Gabor there in 9th, as long as nobody does really improve behind him, he should be all good. As Joe Murphy bangs in a lap time that I didn't even know he was on, a 108.586.
Brilliant from Joe Murphy, righting the wrongs from last week so far, and there was nothing wrong with last week. We could be talking back-to-back pole positions if he was able to complete the lap that never was in Baku. That might be him done for the session, mind you. He'll have a minute to get back into the pit lane and then maybe enough time to turn it around and get back out on the circuit as well. But Joe Murphy, a fantastic job putting 2 tenths between him and the championship leader, Kai Pearson. That is a big, big statement lap. Maybe there's just too few races left in the season to mount a significant title charge against Kai Pearson, but he's certainly doing his best to stop him in his tracks.
Yeah, we will show you the standings, by the way, because we have got a legal blocking penalty, so we will show you the standings in due course. Tom Covers, though, on a lap time, purple in the middle sector, so not actually looking too bad here, the man in 6th position right now. Looking to go clear of Cameron Dowds there in 5th. Tim, potentially, and Flopman are going to be on his radar as well for this improvement. Is he going to come back in the pit lane, however? That is my big worry for the Alpine now coming down the hill in towards turns 13 and 14. Through the right, through the left of the wall of champion chicane. On the run to the line now with Thomas Covers. On the run to the line he comes. And he goes 4th. Actually splits between Flopman and Tim. And only 1,000th of a second off Flopman. So not a bad sector, not a bad lap time there at all from Thomas Covers. There going 4th. Cameron Dowds there in 6th on a night lap. Lou on a night lap. Quantum, however, more crucially, is on a full lap. But coming on board with him. 41.2 in the middle sector, and he's invalidated. Must have been through the second chicane where he invalidated that. But Joe Murphy out on top, Kai Pearson second, Flopman there in third. I think, Joe, honestly, Joe Murphy, that lap time is going to be very hard to beat. Kai Pearson has got to be somewhere, if not beyond his best, I think, to get even near that lap.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just looking at that and I'm going, what if for Tim? Maybe, because we were watching his lap and it was awful, but he was still a couple tenths up by the end of it. So if he could just iron out those mistakes, then maybe one or two of these drivers, not just Tim, but those around him as well, can get close to it. But to put that lap in earlier than what everybody else is going to be doing, and Joe Murphy won't make it back in because he's on low fuel mode, does that maybe mean he did a double out lap, or does he just not have enough fuel for the in lap, putting it on the minimum amount of fuel that you can have in the car? Whichever what it is, he's gone in early. He's now got all of the drivers aiming for that. They know exactly what they need to target for a pole position, and of course those other high up grid spots. So yeah, more pressure on them, less now on Joe Murphy, who can relax and watch the end of the session.
Yeah, and more pressure definitely on for Cameron Dowds. He's the first one, just on up on a run now through turn number 4, through the right-hander now at turn number 5. His first sector split to 19.1, so down in the first sector actually. Cameron Dowds, normally his lap time comes in the middle sector, and then in the final sector he will try and improve as the session will go on, and hopefully as this lap goes on as well. Now coming in toward the right-hander of turns number 8, and then through the left-hander now of turn number 9, second chicane. Nicely done on the curb there from Cameron Dowds. Gets a little bit of switching, that might just help him on the run through the middle sector, and he is still down, but he is up in that middle sector, if you know what I mean by that. Now coming through the hairpin at turn number 10, now through the kink of turn number 11, on the other kink now down into the DRS straight, in towards the right-hander now of turn number 12. Can Flying Scotsman 2.0 get on top in this session? It's going to be a big final sector if he's to even get close to the likes of Kai Pearson and Joe Murphy. Cameron Dowds now through the final corner, takes a little bit too much curve, really nicely done. Nearly runs through a wheel on the run to the line there, Cameron Dowds. He goes third fastest. In the end, big improvement through that final corner, 108.8, not good enough to try and defeat him. Kai Pearson's up in the first sector, middle sector split for Kai Pearson. Up by 400s, but not doing enough to beat Joe Murphy.
Exactly the same improvements in the first and second sectors of the lap. He didn't gain any more time than in the second sector. This means he needs to find over a tenth in just the chicane alone, it's looking like, as he heads on down now, full speed, 200 miles an hour. I think running a little bit more downforce based on the speed trap. He's understeered into the wall. He's invalidated. The lap won't count. The lap wouldn't have been good enough. It was a 0.6 for him. Tim is back into the pit lane. He also found a big improvement, but again, it won't count as he crosses the line. Zorzo's around. Schumacher, the only driver that could threaten possibly a top 5 at the moment with his middle sector. Perhaps worth watching him and what could be one of the best qualifyings of his season so far. Ogween's back into the pit lane. It's just Schumacher and Quantum.
Yeah, Quantum coming through the hairpin. Schumacher on the run toward the line now through the wall of champion chicane, through the left-hander now. Turn number 14, just avoiding the wheel there. That's in the strewn in the middle of the track. Schumacher on the run to the line. 6th fastest, 108.945. That's the Schumacher that we've come to love here on the console side, at least. There in 6th, Tim there in 7th, Tom there in 8th, and Quantum in the wall. Coming out the final corner, he's got caught on that wall. That basically comes out on you through the wall of champions. That is him done. He's right down the back of the field. Didn't even get a lap time set in the end. Ryan there on board with him down in 12th position. But it is that man, what we like to call the fake Irishman, or I like to call him now the fake Irishman, the Brit, Joe Murphy, out on top from Kai Pearson there in second, 0.2 of a second, separating them out on track. Cameron Dowds there in third with Flopman there in fourth. Watch out for them two, I think they're going to be quicker potentially in the race. Thomas Covers there in fifth, the Schumacher in sixth, Tim there in seventh, Tom there in eighth. Cannot get away from the Tim and Tom fourth row of the grid. Liam Bowman there in ninth. He will get the legal blocking penalty. It will move. The ball there in 10th. And Zozo, Ryan, Ogween, Lou, and Choco top 15. Brandok 7-16 didn't even improve on his lap time in the end. Yaron there in 17th. And because both had qualifying bans, Macho 2D 18th and 20th split by Quantum, who of course crashed out there at the end of the session. What we're going to do, though, is something different. We're going to go straight to the championship standings, of course, coming into tonight. And we'll have a word from our sponsors very shortly indeed, from Next Level Racing and indeed from Gridfinder. But Kai Pearson out on top on 70 points coming into tonight, Joe. Liam Bowman in second, 52. Cameron Dowds there in third on 42. Joe Murphy, you mentioned there, could be a late title charge. He is only, 29 points of Kai Pearson, and judging by Kai's performance there, a little bit under pressure. Joe Murphy on pole, that's going to put him, and that's going to fill him with a lot of confidence, especially looking at those standings.
Yeah, well, indeed, Kai Pearson could well have been leading by 38 points, if not for his 3 seconds time penalty. That brought a big point swing back Liam Bowman's way, who inherited the race win, plus 7 points. Kai Pearson lost 13 points from that penalty. So, as you can see, the gap shrinking down to just 18. Cameron Dowds has lacked a little bit of consistency. Baku wasn't his best round, and will aim to iron that out through the course of the remainder of the season. Joe Murphy had a brilliant comeback drive, it has to be said. But again, another 5-second time penalty for Joe Murphy actually put him into P6. Again, a case of what could have been. And then behind, I mean, lots of movement in and out of the top 10. Moba has now abandoned us, of course. Ogween as a reserve driver coming in there. Yeri as well. Tudi, who had that brilliant round back in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, scope for a lot of movement. As we all know, it's a short season. The pressure's on everybody. No more so than Kai Pearson, though, who is going for that second attempt at the Crossplay Tier 1 title.
Yeah, definitely. So, just looking at some footage, by the way, that's been uploaded into Discord. Oh,
yes.
It's Tom's incident. That crash coming to the wall of champion chicane. He lost his rear right wheel coming off the wall of champion chicane. Not often you see a rear right wheel completely go off in terms of the car. But Tom there, out of the session, he ended up, 8th position, I think, behind Tim in the end. So not a bad qualifying session from him. It would have been the case, though, where he could have improved a hell of a lot, I think, on that lap if he was to get another one in. But he's there, 5th in the standings. He's behind Joe Murphy by 13 points. It's still going to fill him, hopefully, with a lot of confidence going forward as well. We are just waiting for new invites into the lobby as well. We are getting that legal blocking penalty removed for Liam Bowman, but it is Kai out on top, Liam Bowman in second, Cameron Dowd in third in terms of the championship standings. What we're going to do then, I did promise you a word from our sponsors, Next Level Racing and Grid Finder. We're going to do exactly that right now. So we are going to be back with you in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Console Tier 1. It is Season 17. It is round number 5 of the Championship. The Canadian Grand Prix qualifying has been and gone. Joe Murphy out on top, Kai Pearson alongside him on the front row of the grid. Alongside me in the commentary box, of course, is Mr. Shazoo Joseph. I can't speak tonight, clearly. I cannot speak tonight, clearly, as you can tell. It is Joe alongside me, though, in the commentary box. So, Joe, we can actually see you now, which is really good. Obviously, Joe Murphy out on top, Kai Pearson alongside him on the front row of the grid. Going to be really interesting, I think, in terms of qualifying. In terms of the race, even.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good grid. Of course, Joe Murphy, a first pole of the season. The first non-Kai or Liam Bowman pole of the season after 4 rounds. So, yeah, that immediately makes for an interesting one. Joe Murphy, dominant in terms of a pole position lap time, especially around Canada, but it's highly unlikely that will transfer all into the race. Dynamic conditions, as always, many unknowns still. Strategy can very much vary too, so yeah, I don't think we're jumping to any conclusions here already.
I will say at the start of what was that session that we had, I think it was blue skies and sunshine, so I think it was a dry start potentially. Obviously, with it being dynamic weather, it could throw the new session up completely into intermediate compound of tyres. We could see some really good things, and your reaction was for something else, I'm guessing.
It was for something else. I'm not going to say anything.
Championship football by any chance?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I think Ipswich are now getting beat as a result.
No, it's Leeds.
It's Leeds. Beat. Oh, Leeds are getting beat.
Oh my word! Oh my word! It's happening. Sorry. WOR, please.
This is the thing. We slander him before the stream. We slander him at the start of the stream, and now Leeds are getting beat. So it all comes back around quite simply in terms of being a Leicester fan. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. What goes around comes around, especially for me anyway. I'm very much a guilty man of jinxing myself, jinxing others, especially in WOR. That's why I've not put anybody on outright to win as of yet. But honestly, Canada's one of my personal favourites, and I'm going to bring it back to Canada a little bit because it's hard. It's a really hard circuit, and I feel like the pad drivers are struggling a bit already. Liam Bowman down in P9 with a dodgy controller, with a controller he's not used to, or indeed the dodgy one that he was a lot quicker on, it has to be said. Then, yeah, it could be a rough race for him. He just needs to focus, get over the line, and score some points.
Definitely so. I think we lost you there. More on my end, I think, than your end there, Joe. Hopefully everything is okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear. It's all good on my end.
Good, because you went ooh in the background and thought, oh, maybe it's my connection going. But I think the drivers are going to get going very soon indeed in terms of the lobby. Ron, by the way, saying in the chat, slay Joseph. Yeah, I agree. Joseph is slaying quite literally on camera here tonight, even though you've only seen him for about a minute of this stream. He is definitely slaying as well as I am. I hope I'm going to get some comments as well coming my way regarding this, because poor Gareth Davies, we've got to feel sorry for Mr. Warder himself. He broke down on the motorway, and I got a message off him saying he got back at about 8:15. He got in, so he is back home, which I'm really glad to report. He is back off the motorway. All of that dire consequences of him breaking down on the motorway and probably shutting the motorway as well, knowing him, but at least he's back home, and at least he'll be back next week, Joe, which is the important thing. The drivers are now beginning to get ready up in the lobby. I'm going to throw it to you guys in the comment section. Who do you think is going to win? Who is going to win this race here in Canada? 35 laps of racing about to begin. I'm immediately coming to myself for prediction and going Cameron Dowds for the win. I know I'm going to be biased towards him. I've been quite biased towards him in the past, but Cameron Dowds for the win, given that he was second in PSGL around here.
Yeah, Cameron is very good around here. Tim is very good around here. If I was to pick a little bit of an underdog from outside the top 5 on the grid, because Tim didn't have a great qualifying, but I know his race pace is very good. I remember, I think he had a set of hard tyres on, and he was pulling away back in EOR, and that's a very hard thing to do on any song. Oh, never mind, it's raining. Yes, heavy rain in Canada. That's what we want to see. Bin off the hard tyres. We are going wet racing.
And I wish we had the cameras on for that, because our reaction was pretty much the same, because I'm very happy that it is raining out on track. It was very similar in Tier 2, albeit in qualifying. I didn't catch the race start or anything. In Tier 2, it was about 7 minutes bone dry in qualifying, and then it turned to inters halfway through the session. So that is why drivers were really tentative to get out very early in that session. Hopefully, though, we are going to get this race underway very, very soon indeed. Forza Brendan into the chat. We want head. Yeah, I'm not sure if we do want head. I'm not sure if we're pretty much like that, to be honest. I'm certainly not. But at least these guys won't rain out on track, is what I can throw it to. And hopefully, we will not have any more hashtag we want heads in the chat, because, yeah, it's inappropriate. Let's just put it that way.
We want head in the commentary box. Nowhere else, please. Let's keep well away from that. Oh dear. Yes, regardless, I mean, strategy has gone out the window. I was about to talk about the potential for one stop versus two stop races. We could have a couple stops if it stays inters throughout the race, and I'm not sure based on that, because of now the pit lane is a lot shorter, because you cut across the final chicane, you cut across turn 1 and turn 2, and you only lose around, I can't remember exactly, but you only lose probably about 5 seconds less than you would on a normal circuit. So fresh intermediates are going to be the play. If there's a safety car, pit at almost every opportunity you can and hope that people react to you and you keep that position. Otherwise, we're in for another thriller here in WOR Crossplay Tier 1.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for an absolute thriller regardless. Obviously, the drivers out on track probably haven't experienced these conditions as much. I know we had a dry race in PSGL, so obviously drivers who drove there, the likes of Flopman, the likes of Cameron Dowd, will have experienced dry conditions there. This is a whole different ball game. This is more 2011 Canada sort of weather here. Full wet conditions to start the race. And I'm assuming we're going to stay like this pretty much throughout the entirety of stage. Dynamic down the way we go, and Joe Murphy gets a very good start. Kai Pearson alongside him might be outdone by Cameron Dowd on the run towards turn 1. In fact, actually, Kai Pearson nearly makes contact with him in towards track. Rejoining there, having a collision with Cameron Dowd in towards turn 1. But Joe Murphy leads. Cameron Dowd's there in second. Thomas Covers there in third. And already a VSC out on track. Why am I not surprised in terms of that absolute crazy start? Hardly see anything. Everyone's on a set of intermediate compound tyres by the looks, judging through the field. Macho's gained a couple of positions off the race start. Liam Bowman's lost quite a number off the race start as well. Everyone's on a set of intermediate compound tyre, which means 25 litres of water every single second. It is Joe Murphy out on top, Cameron Dowd in second, Thomas Covers in third. But we've got a VSC, and I'm trying to see what for. I think somebody might have lost their front wing further down the field.
Yeah, usually it's for significant front wing damage, but in amongst all of the spray, I can't see a lot. Ogwin has right-hand side end plate damage. That's the only damage I've seen so far, clear as day. Honestly, I cannot see a thing in all of the spray. They're all parking up at the hairpin. Cameron Dowd
oh my God.
A massive concertina effect. It's green flag racing now. They're 3 abreast into the hairpin. Goodness me, what's going on at the start of this WOR Crossplay Tier 1 race? Going left there is Choco on Yaroon, and I'm watching the fight for P16 because Joe Murphy is gone at the front of the field from all of that. Quantum having a look. Everyone's single file and into the pit lane. Quantum is driven into Macho. Macho's driven into Ogween. 6 cars come into the pit lane. Absolute chaos in Canada.
It's absolute chaos in Canada. What is also absolute chaos is my Elgato was now froze. So this is going to be absolutely brilliant. What I can tell you, while we go a little bit of radio commentary right now, Joe Murphy out on top, Cameron Dowd in second, Schumacher there in third, 6 drivers into the pit lane, Ogween, Macho, Quantum, Choco, Gabor, and Yaron all in the pits. There goes Kai Pearson now, Tom there, under pressure from Schumacher. Schumacher trying to defend P3 there. Tom there in P4, Liam Bowman gaining positions past Lou, Tim also gaining past Ryan and Flopman. Flopman's there in a number of positions off the race start as well. Tom to the inside line, in towards turn number 8 and 9, gets the job done. He's into third. I will try and fix the Elgato because it has just completely gone.
Well, I'll carry on commentating as if I think we still might be live. I don't know, but Flopman I think has damage. Oh, he's straight on. I don't know who the contact was with, but Flopman has gone straight on at the hairpin at turn 10. The damage maybe only made worse there. NLR Ryan side by side with Liam Bowman. Bowman has good straight line speed. He's used a bit of battery to stay in front of the German driver. And speaking of Germans, that's Schumacher picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. I think he was too close to the back of Tom, caught himself off guard. Kai Pearson's going up the inside at one. Schumacher holds it around the outside. This fight continues, but it's amazing actually to see Schumacher that high up.
Yeah, and Kai Pearson actually goes to the inside line of him and now sends him back down in position. So Kai through and he's into fourth. Schumacher there in fifth. Apologies, by the way. My OBS is starting to absolutely die on me. This is why you test everything before you go live, and this is why you don't get called up 25 minutes before the stream is due to go live as well. But at least we're here, at least we're alive, and at least the stream's still going as well. Joe Murphy out on top, Cameron Dowds there in second, Tom there in third, Tim under pressure there from Lou in the background of shot. There we are on board with the helicopter cam as we now come through the right-hander of turns 8 and 9, and he is right on the back actually as Liam Bowman gets the job done on Thomas Covers just ahead in camera shot. Lou now on the back of Tim in towards the right-hander now of the hairpin at turn number 10 at the top of the track. Now coming through the hairpin, trying to get the job done to the inside on the BRT man, on the back of the NLR man. They run now down the straight. The NLR man might just hang on here from the BRT man. Of course, Tim formerly part of CPI in Legacy Division as well. Lou now on the run down the straight, not going to get him into the wall of champion chicane. He stays there in 10th. Tim there in 9th. Not bad going there at all. But Joe Murphy leads the way. Cameron Dowds there in second. Tom there in third. Now, big moment. This is clean through, as is the stream, which is good.
Yeah, a lot cleaner now that the drivers are starting to open up gaps between each other. Cameron Dowds was the man at the inside of turn 1 on lap 1. That saw Kai and indeed Flopman go wide. Not sure how much to blame he was for that. It looks like he was just getting pinched there as the corner sort of tightens as it goes right then left. A common racing incident here in Canada. I'm sure that will be investigated by somebody. Someone will instigate that investigation by the stewards, possibly Flopman, as he came off quite badly with the damage. He's now down in P18. As I've said, it's mostly slowing down now and starting to form a pretty tricky race. It doesn't look like this rain is letting up either. If anything, possibly getting more heavy. I've just seen Joe Murphy drift, maybe not optimally, around turn 10. Cameron Dowds is keeping him for company, pretty much matching his times over the last couple of laps. Yellow flag was for Macho. Zorzo is ahead of 2D, and this is a battle for P11 down the back straight. Zorzo also has damage.
Damages, yeah, Zozo on the left side end plate. I'm just going to pick up on that. You've luckily just got there ahead of me. 2D there gets through and he's in for 11th though. Zozo there in 12th, and Zozo, for his pain, picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. The second one of the night. Schumacher's also got a 3-second penalty from all of that carnage on lap 1 as well. But Joe Murphy leads the way. Cameron Dowd there in second, Tom there in third. At this moment in time, I think my prediction of Cameron Dowd winning could be actually on here, because he's there in second, chasing down Joe Murphy. Kai Pearson further down the field, all the way down now, Kai Pearson in 4th position. So he has got a bit of ground to make up after that incident on lap 1. He'll be hoping to make up ground very soon indeed. He's on the back of Shazoo Tom, and we know how Tom excels in these conditions around here in WOR Console Tier 1, and indeed in other leagues as well. Kai Pearson excels in these conditions as well. He'll be looking on the back as Lou, speaking of which, is on the back of Tim in toward the right-hander of the chicane. It turns 8 and 9. Tim's gone off. Lou's surely going to get a position. Lou through and he's into 9th. Tim there down in 10th position. Not good news for if you're an NLR fan in Tim and a Haas fan in Tim. Lou there in 9th. Not a bad move there at all, but that's, of course, as a result of that mistake from Tim.
As well, he went very well in these similar sort of conditions in P4 in the end it was. Yes, it may not have been so soon in the race as it was now, where he's up into P3, but still he is and has been capable of churning out some pretty good results this season, which is not something he's been able to boast over the last couple of seasons in WOR Crossplay Tier 1. Finally some consistency, some luck coming his way. He very much deserves to be fighting where he is at the moment. Kai Pearson, though, will have a hard time overtaking him. No DRS in these conditions. As soon as I said the rain might be picking up in intensity, it's starting to ease up a little bit. Maybe it was just my eyes playing tricks with me, but Quantum set the fastest lap of the race, indicating that the track can only be getting better.
Yeah, the track definitely getting better from a visual standpoint. Kai Pearson there in fourth, Tim there, Tom there even in third. He is flashing that red fuel light because, obviously, we're in wet conditions and you've got to try and have that red fuel light on the back as Liam Bowman now eyes up the back of Schumacher on the outside and towards turn number 10. Oh, Schumacher just about holding to the inside line there. Liam Bowman, though, the Flying Scotsman is through. The Flying Scotsman doesn't really work in these conditions here, especially not in Canada, but Liam Bowman through needs into fifth. Schumacher there down in sixth. Thomas Covers there in seventh on his debut. Even WOR Console Tier 1, he's there in seventh. Ryan there in eighth in this early stage of the race. Looking at position gains, actually, just while we've got a little bit of break in the action. Cameron Dowd's gaining 1, Tom gaining 5, big gain for him. Tooley gaining 9, right from the back of the field as well after that qualifying ban. Macho obviously is retired out of the race as well. If we didn't pick up on that, we have now. Macho retiring in the pit lane, he is out of the race, the first one done out of tonight. Plenty more, I am sure, are going to be like that because the field is strung out very much so. It's pretty much like the championship, to be honest, in terms of the points between Leicester and Sunderland right now. Strung out like an absolute washing line. Kai Pearson there in fourth, Tom there in now. Coming through turns 6 and 7. On the run now towards turns 8 and 9. Joe Murphy out on top, holding that gap of 1.1 seconds. But Kai Pearson hunting down on the back of Tom. Tom, you want somebody on your side. It is him out in front. But Kai Pearson there in fourth is definitely going to be there, and he's going to be there for the fight. Safety car.
Safety car deployed. Oh, that came out of absolutely nowhere, didn't it? And I'm not even sure who it's for because nobody has crashed out in all of that.
Zorzo.
He must have damage. Zorzo, he was already struggling with a broken front wing. Matters have only been made worse. Understeering, it looks like, coming out of turn 7. That's the first full safety car. I expect we'll see some activity in the pit lane. Exactly what I said. If there's a safety car, you pit. And that's exactly what Joe Murphy, Cameron Dowds, and everybody behind will be coming in to do.
Yeah, and Cameron Dowds into the pit lane. It'll be for a fresh set of intermediate compound and tyre. Obviously, the rain is still falling there out on track, so it will mean potentially that drivers can still get pen, though, on what the drivers might actually feel. Schumacher's decided to continue on because Schumacher just likes to do Schumacher things, let's be honest, they're in the lead of the race. Joe Murphy in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. But it's actually not a bad ploy, actually, I've got to say, from the Williams perspective, because has he been told, potentially, that the rain is actually going to dry up? If this race is going to dry up, is it going to dry up soon enough? Because the rain is falling lighter compared to the start of the race. Is it going to be like this in intensity for the next 15 minutes or so? Or is Schumacher just going to play potentially for that one-stop strategy and wait for any dry running to come later on in the race? Dirk there saying in the chat, he was in the Console Tier 2 race earlier on. This is going to end in tears for somebody. Schumacher and P1 on old tyres. It could end up like that, or Schumacher could have ended up doing the ploy and thinking, if there's dry running later on in the race, probably around the halfway stage in about 10 or 11 laps time, and it starts to become dry, Schumacher then could be looking pretty at the front end of the field. Who knows?
Schumacher has a reputation. Not a particularly good one, it has to be said, but yes, it's a recipe for being an obstacle. I'll just say that much. With the cars, the very quick cars that he's got coming up behind him. He's been good so far, has Schumacher. Honestly, I don't have a clue what his best tracks are, what his worst tracks are, but he's come out flying here in Canada, and he leads the race. He leads in WOR Tier 1 for the first time this season. He also does have a terrible DNF record, particularly in, I think it was Tier 2 last season or the season before. I've lost all track of time with regards to that one. But he leads on lap 9 of 35. Everybody behind him, of Jeroen, and a fresh set of intermediate tyres. They'll be coming at him like a pack of stinging hornets.
Stinging hornets, I like that. I like that. I might have to use that in my commentary going forward. I might have to steal that one. But Schumacher leading the way from Joe Murphy in second. Of course, he's got a 3-second penalty, I believe. Has Schumacher even. Zolz's got a 3-second penalty as well. That was both for corner cutting. So they are obviously going to have those penalties extended on towards that race distance. That will always remain with them until the end of the race, unless obviously it's 3 warnings within a lap, and then it could potentially get removed within the steward's room. But who knows? Schumacher leads the way, Joe Murphy second, Cameron Dowds in third. I've got to tend to agree with you, to be honest, with Schumacher, knowing how he is. He's there in P1, Joe Murphy P2, then Cameron Dowds in P3. Thomas covers that in the chat. Oh, it's Joe Murphy. Was getting very close there to the back of Schumacher in towards turns 8 and 9. Tom Covers there in the chat actually saying, great start, guys, thanks for the damage. So it looks like Thomas Covers has potentially got that little bit of damage on that car. Was he one of the ones that already came into the pit lane? Yeah, he just came in the pit lane. So he's obviously got that damage now removed from that car, which is good. But he's there in 11th position. Further down the field, he's behind 2D, who was starting right at the back of the field. Not a great start from his perspective on debut. Brundux and Zolzerman behind as well. But these guys are on the fresh compound tyre. We'll be hoping, at least, unlike a grid start, a rolling start will probably be more sufficient for them, so they can actually get the tyres up to temperature, and so they can actually get some running in.
Yeah, absolutely. The drivers will be feeling a lot more confident in themselves, I think, on the fresh tyres to push on. But how much can you push when you're stuck behind another car in a train of also adapting cars? That's the main question we've got here in Canada this evening. There'll be a lot of frustrated drivers. Tom Covers just one of them in the Crossplay Tier 1 chat. He's the main driver that's expressed their frustration. Flopman with a sarcastic GG. Schumacher said restart. I don't know why he said that 14 minutes ago. He'll certainly not be wanting a restart at this point in the race. But he's still quite vulnerable. He needs to hope for another swift intervention in this race. Whether that comes in the form of drying up, whether that comes in the form of another safety car to get on a fresh set of tyres himself and be in a better position later on in the race, we'll see. But a 3-second penalty to his name might have been inflicted from some of the earlier carnage. But we should be going racing again at the end of this lap. It's a Schumacher safety car restart.
It is a Schumacher safety car restart. How many of those have we had potentially in Formula 1 gone back in the day? Not only here in WOR, but actual real life with a real Schumacher there out on track. Apologies again about the audio cutting out. That should be coming back to you in just a second. There we are. That should be fixed right now. But Schumacher out on top. He's now the virtual Burt Marlander. He's now the virtual safety car. And unlike the German in the safety car, we'll be hoping to try and get a good restart out of this as well. And it looks like he really wants to get on with things, because judging by the pace that he is setting, he is going absolutely rampant on the back of the safety car. You've got to leave within 10 car lengths ahead, of course, of the safety car coming in the pit lane. He can choose to go, though, whenever the lights go green. You can see them on the left-hand side where the squareness is in terms of the barriers. It's still yellow at the minute, just coming through into the Wall of Champion chicane. But Schumacher, I think, will go pretty late, probably halfway down the straight, I would imagine. Coming through the final corner, still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. I'd say he'll go about now, and he has. Schumacher's gone in towards now turn 1. No, he's gone very late indeed. Now he goes, and Tom and Kai Pearson are going to be side by side in towards turn 1. Very dangerous there from Schumacher. Everyone's nearly off. Schumacher's definitely off. Cuts across the corner, and next to 3 gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Rejoins on track. Joe Murphy just about avoids. Cameron Dowds there in second now. Kai Pearson around the outside on Schumacher. This is going to end terribly for somebody. Cameron Dowds has to take the Hamilton-Vettel line. Coming through the left-hander there at turn number 4. Schumacher's still on the back of Kai Pearson, but he's in the wall. He gets left side and plate damage on the car. Liam Bowman, Ryan. It is literally carnage. It's like a car park here in Canada moving forward. Joe Murphy's avoided all of this. He's 2.5 seconds up front. Kai Pearson there in second. Liam Bowman there in third. But all I can say really is, what the hell is going on?
Well, I don't know, but Cameron Dowds is last. He's been tagged by somebody. It wasn't Schumacher, it was whoever was behind him. After all of that, possibly Kai Pearson. That's not an accusation, I'm just suggesting who it might have been. Schumacher, this is absolutely shocking. I have to say, a really aggressive hit on into the first corner. It's good for Joe Murphy.
Way.
He's gone up the roads. He's unstoppable. Schumacher now go for it on Louis straight-lined him. That's awful. That's absolutely awful. And I don't expect anything else from him. That is absolutely shocking. Awful.
And, yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I could say some pretty bad things about him right now, but I'm not, because I'm going to keep it professional and keep it within the stream. We have got a battle for P2, though, going on. Kai Pearson's under pressure from Liam Bowman. This is a very interesting battle in terms of the championship. Tom there in fourth as well. But it is Kai Pearson second, Liam Bowman there in third, Tom there in fourth. This battle really going on, but Schumacher in the end, you can drive better than that. I think everyone could drive better than that, let's be honest. I mean, open lobby drivers could make him look like an absolute mug, let's be honest. Thomas Covers on the back of Choco coming through the right-hander now, turns 6 and 7. Now on the back, running down the straight in towards turns 8 and 9. He's looking for the move on the inside line. Zolzo in behind as well, look at and really trying to work out who's going to get a move done on who. Zolzo on the back now, Thomas Covers on the outside line in towards turn number 10, flicks a car completely right, inside curb I think caught there from Zolzo, not sure if there was contact there from him and Gabor. Now Flopman's going to go side by side with them down the straight. Joe Murphy still leads, 2.8 seconds out in front for Kai Pearson second, Liam Bowman third, Tom there in fourth, and Flopman getting absolutely boxed in by Gabor and Thomas Covers, running down in towards turn 13 and 14 at the WOR Champion chicane, has to back out that. Very good driving. Thomas Covers 13th, and Liam Bowman and Tom having a right ding-dong coming through turns 2.
And Bowman's got him. A traction there coming out of turn 3 for Liam Bowman, who's up into P3. The wet conditions now starting to favour him. He's found his groove here tonight, having qualified ninth and been ridiculed, having taken 3 pole positions already this season. He is back on the charge, and how big would an overtake be on his closest championship contender, Kai Pearson? 18 points, Liam Bowman trails Kai Pearson by. That would come down, of course, with an overtake. It's just gone a little bit wide, going into turn 8 and 9. A bit of wheel spin coming out as well. That gives Kai Pearson some breathing room. And I'll tell you what, Kai is matching, if not slightly bettering, Joe Murphy for pace. This race will go the distance, especially now that we don't have DRS. It will just be about pure, and Joe Murphy and Kai Pearson have absolutely loads of it.
Definitely so. We'll turn the telemetry on actually because Tom's using up his battery, goes to the inside line in the WOR Champion chicane, and he's into third, so he gets the job done on Liam Bowman, and Liam Bowman now is going to try and come back at him down the straight, not using up any battery. That is Tom's position until the cats come home, and that is him into third. Liam Bowman there down in fourth position. Not a bad move there at all from Tom, but it looks as if actually, has the rain stopped out on track? No, it's very, very light though, the rain now out on track. It is going to dry up, I'm assuming, around about the halfway stage within this race, and if it does, then we're looking probably to about lap 22, 23 when the dries really begin to kick in, if it is going to turn dry within this race. But you can see it visibly on the cameras, certainly right on board with the drivers, it is getting lighter out on track, which is always good. Joe Murphy there leading the way, Kai Pearson second, Tom there in third, Liam Bowman there in fourth. Jensen, WOR console tier 1 champion back in the day, saying, why was this guy given any chance? If you're once, you're always. Pretty much the same. I've got to draw direct comparison to GL Gilles in PSGL in France. Go and watch that race back. I'm not going to disown him on this stream whatsoever. I'm not like that. But Quantum on the back of Tim right now, 6th and 7th position, coming through the right-hander of turn 10, and now through the king of turn number 11. Has the McLaren got the legs down the straight to try and get the NLR man running down the straight? 45% of EOS to try and use up. Here comes Quantum, looks to the outside line. Tim is going to have to try and use this battery up, but he does get the battery, get the job done as well. Stays in 6th position. Quantum there in 7th, and Quantum unfortunately can't pull off quantum physics for that move.
No, he can't. Tough task of overtaking Tim. Tim also has slipstream off of his, I would say teammate. I'm forgetting what we're in this evening. Off of his NLR compatriot in Ryan. Let's just say that much. It will be a very big challenge for him, of course. He had a rough qualifying, Quantum, and he's certainly made the most of the race so far. Didn't get a lap in on the board. He's up 12 positions, as is his teammate 2D. 2D was qualifying banned. Quantum didn't get a lap on the board. Both McLarens up 12 then after 15 laps of racing. Now, one thing as well is, no matter when this track dries up and the rain has stopped, I think we're looking at a medium tyre compound to the ends. That will give you a good amount of range and a good amount of pace running. We can't be too far off now that the rain has stopped.
Cameron Dowd sneaks up the inside line of Gabor. Gabor there making Zolzo very late on the brakes, I've got to say. Gabor making then contact with Zolzo, who came in front of him, and now Flopman's right on the back of Gabor as well. So he could lose 3 positions for the price of 1 here, and he is going to, because Flopman goes to the inside line into the WOR Champion chicane, leaves him short of room. Gabor there is going to be absolutely fuming with that one. Flopman left him absolutely no room at all at the wall there, coming down the hill in towards turn 13 and 14, but Flopman there in 13th, Gabor there in 14th. They remain Ryan is that for now. Stewards, though, I'm sure Gabor will definitely have a look at that one, maybe in the steward's room later on. But a shame for Gabor because Zozo dived it to the inside line and towards turn number 10. Cameron Dowd just snuck up the inside as a result of that. And then he's lost the position to Flopman running down the straight, and albeit Flopman came across him slightly, nearly forced him into the wall. Flopman now is on the move, on the back of Zozo, looking now to the inside line, now coming through turn 6 and 7, through the second chicane, out on track. Liam Bowman picks up a 3-second penalty. That's coming through the next chicane as we run on board with Flopman and Zozo. But coming back to obviously the rain now falling out on track, and the rain actually stopping now out on track. It looks as if, though, this track, judging by the conditions out on track, judging by the cloud cover over the circuit, it's going to take a while for this to dry up. I'm going to say it's going to take at least 4 laps, I think, for this to dry up. So around about lap 20-21 is when I'm thinking first for the drive runners will come in.
Absolutely. And, well, it's worth mentioning, penalties have been Liam Bowman's Achilles heel so far this season. 3 seconds for an on-track collision back in the season opener in Bahrain. Elsewhere as well, in the likes of WOR, CTC, I think as well, he's been picking up penalties that have cost him race wins, and have at the very least given him some extra work to do. That's the case for him now. That podium position looking quite unlikely. Kai Pearson will be being a whole lot saying that his main title rival has a 3-second penalty to his name. The other one down in P11, not even swift, but saying that Cameron dances down the inside of YI Choco. He's got it deep. Choco switchbacks, has the grip around the outside. They bang wheels, the Haas and the Ferrari. This is turning into a great scrap, and I'm glad I managed to tune into this one right as I did. Choco covers the inside.
Wow.
Cameron Dowds goes for the apex. The DRS is enabled. Despite the grease on the circuit, despite the standing water, race control in the game, feels like now is the right time to get on those slick tyres.
And Thomas Covers and Schumacher have reacted to that. They're on a set of medium compound tyres. Everyone else is staying out there, I think, for at least one more lap. It looks like Liam Bowman could be coming in the pit lane. Actually, no, Liam Bowman's got the move done on Tom. Cameron Dowd's now getting the move done on Choco down the straight in towards the right-hander of turn 13. Is he going to come straight in the pit lane? Yes, he is. Can he get the car stopped? Yes, he can. He's up into 10th position. Flopman and Zozo into the pit lane there as well. Zozo very close there to the back of Flopman. Gabor very close to the back of Zozo as well. But most of the field now coming in for a set of medium compound tyres. Basically, you know what's happened as Joe Murphy is in strife coming through the chicane there. It turns 4 and 5 even. Not sure if Ryan has caught time, but that was a big mistake from Joe Murphy on that set of intermediate compound tyres. That's now going to put him completely back against the backwash compared to Kai Pearson. 19.1 seconds, and that gap is closing so quickly indeed. And just by the way, just to say it, I was wrong in terms of the track drying out. I thought it was going to be a lot worse off compared to where it is now, where it is bone dry.
Yeah, it's rapid, isn't it? As soon as the DRS is enabled in the game, you know that it's time for slick tyres. And I'm very surprised Joe Murphy didn't go in there. And then, as the race leader, what's the risk in pitting on the lap that the game really tells you to pit at? I'm really not sure what the thinking was, but I think he is at very real risk now of being jumped by Kai Pearson. And there was a 2.5 second gap between them. Kai's gained 2 seconds in the final alone. He's rounding the final corner very shortly. The other 3 intermediate runners behind pit. Ogween doing so as well. Here comes Kai Pearson. Yes, Joe Murphy is going to be able to cut across at turn 2 and 3. It could be close, but I think Kai Pearson's got it. Yes, he has a 3-second undercut by pitting on the correct lap for slick tyres.
But Joe Murphy now is on a lap fresher tyres compared to him, and that lap fresher tyres is going to come in absolute bucket loads towards the end of the race. It's only going to be, what, 4%, 5% better off tyre wear potentially towards the end of the race. Joe Murphy is going to be there on fresher tyres. Liam Bowman there in 3rd, Tom there in 4th. Obviously doesn't think that the mediums can get to the end of the race. He's either pitted mistakenly on a set of hard compound tyres, or he thinks genuinely that those mediums cannot get to the end of the race. So it is a big call for Tom there in 4th, but all the main title protagonists are at the front of the field, which is what we want. Cameron Dowd, another potential protagonist, he's on the back of 2D, running in towards the hairpin on the back of Ryan. Ryan there in 7th, 2D there in 8th, Cameron Dowd there in 9th. Will be the next battle now focusing on Yaron and Zozo have got penalties, and they're fighting with each other as well. Your own getting ahead is also in that move. 2D now got 8th position. 2D there through, and he's into 7th. The Romanian through there on the German as Cameron Dowds now is looking on the back of Ryan. Is the German now going to get done down the straight like they're going to get done in the Euros by England? Cameron Dowds to the inside line into turn number 1, gets the job done, and he's through, and he's into 8th. Ryan there in 9th, and Tim now losing the position as well to Quantum because he's in strife, he's in trouble. Tim has got a problem, and I'm not sure what that problem is. It's certainly not foot wing damage, I don't think. It certainly looks like maybe a wheel issue, perhaps.
Yes, it looks like he wouldn't stay in 6th gear if it was a wheel problem. Well, obviously, a problem with the wheel itself. I think it's his gear shifters. He's not shifted down, he's not shifted up. Oh, that's such a shame to see. I'm not sure who else had a similar problem with gear shifts. I believe it was Macho in PSGL. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. But this seems like a really common issue across the board with this really high-tech Fanatec equipment. It really shouldn't be doing that if indeed Tim is on a Fanatec. But regardless, it's a shame to see another driver succumb to those faults that technology can have. Not a bad position for Joe Murphy in P2 now. Cameron Downs continues his charge, splitting the two McLarens. Another 1.4 seconds to catch on Quantum. But he's helping of DRS because 2 straights, a nice boost to have in order to defend the position.
Yeah, definitely so. Kai Pearson leading the way, Joe Murphy there in 2nd. Cameron Dowds has certainly got the Fanatecers out on track there in 6th position with that move. Sorry, I had to do that. If you have read, though, on social media about Fanatec, I think they got rid of their CEO, if I'm not mistaken, today because of all the issues that guys have been having in terms of their equipment. Really interesting read. If you do want to read that on social media, it's probably a wash with social media. And if Tim, as you say, Joe, is on that Fanatec wheel, that is just going to put him completely under the pressure, and with those gear shifters as well, going to put him under complete pressure. He is still going in the race, though, so the might have just fixed itself. Flopman, though, on the back is going to try and fix himself on the back of Choco. In towards the hairpin now at turn number 10. Now through for 10th position. Joe Murphy gets the move done on Kai Pearson for the race lead down into the wall of champion chicane. But Flopman now on the back of Choco. Choco now under pressure from Flopman. Flopman no longer a flop to the inside line. In towards, oh, nearly moves across at him actually. Nearly was a flop in towards the left-hander at turn number 13 and 14, but Flopman is out on top, 10th position for him. Choco there in 11th, and that was very similar to the move he pulled off on Gabor earlier on in the race. There was a yellow flag out on track. That's Tim again that has had the same issue, it seems, potentially out on track. He is down there in 18th position. We're on board with him now just to see what's going on. He's in 7th gear coming into the pit lane. Now he's gearing down. It's his up shifts, I think, that have gone, not his down shifts. He's into the pit lane, and he'll be retiring the car.
Yeah, I think that explains why he was 6th gear and dropping positions, then stopping. The first time we saw that issue occur. Completely valid retirement there for NLR Tim. Unfortunate to see, of course, the man that goes so well around here in Canada, not his night tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to bounce back. He already has a crossplay tier 1 win to his name, doesn't he? I think from last season, late on. But indeed, they won't be able to repeat that tonight. Gabor around the outside of Choco. That was close. Almost Choco moving to the same line as Gabor as he went over that inside curve through the kink of 11 and down the back straight. Cameron Dowds is into 5th. Another position gained. Next up is Tom, who interestingly went for the hards. Opposite to everybody else. He's not really got a lot of a doable target to gain. Ogween 3-second penalty. So many cars in that midfield with penalties. Yes, it's tier 1, but still, the track limits in Canada as brutal as ever.
And speaking of which, commentators curse on your man Cameron Dowds. 3-second penalty on track there for Cameron Dowds, pushing so hard. He's just picked up a 3-second penalty. Choco, by the way, I'm not sure if he had a moment of strife there, running down into the wall of champion chicane. It turns 13 and 14. He's there in 17th position. He's just lost 9.5 seconds for some absolute odd reason. He's lost so many positions now. Not sure if he was having maybe the same issue, so both Hasses there in trouble. Not sure if he was having a separate issue, or if something was going on, or if he had contact. Didn't really see on board with him, but Choco there down in 17th. He is in absolute strife further down the field. But Joe Murphy leading the way. Kai Pearson in 2nd. Liam Bowman there in 3rd. Kai now on the back of Joe Murphy. Hunting on the back of his fellow compadre. Running down in towards turn number 1. The left-hander of turn number 1, and Kai Pearson will remain behind on Joe Murphy. In terms of comparison, in terms of ERS, Gabor gets the move done on Flopman. Probably going to put him in the wall very soon indeed as well, Gabor, for earlier on. Joe Murphy, though, 22% of EOS. Kai Pearson is on 48% of EOS. He's actually got double the amount of EOS right now compared to compared to Joe Murphy. Liam Bowman's got 38%. Tom's on 51 and Cameron Dowd's on 33. That rounds off the top 5 as Ogween is into the pit lane, and he also has retired the car.
Yeah, he has indeed. I think that's just a pace problem rather than any sort of issue with his car. He doesn't feel like he could do anything more in this race. Out in front, though, Joe Murphy taking the lead. That's interesting. Maybe he's testing the waters with his race pace. Does he feel quicker than Kai Pearson? Was he holding himself back just by staying behind and allowing Kai Pearson maybe to just dictate the pace a little bit? Joe Murphy's going to have a go at it himself. We'll see how that goes over the next couple of laps, although that could change here. No, it hasn't. Kai Pearson's got himself all worked up on the brakes, actually. He's lost a few tenths there. This is what Joe Murphy wants. He wants to see those mistakes creeping in when Kai Pearson is behind, rather than just having a clear track in front of him in first.
Yeah, Flopman and Gabor still having that big old battle, by the way, further down the field. Lou's now picking up a 3-second penalty add-on track. Flopman through needs into 10th, Gabor there in 11th. They've got to learn, though, not to fight, because Brandok's there in 9th position. TFC Brando there in 9th. Has got a 3-second penalty, but he's on the back of Ryan, he's on the back of 2D, who in then turn is on the back of Quantum and Cameron Dowd, so they've got to get catching up, and with another 3-second penalty for Flopman, that's going to be pretty difficult. Brandok's there in 9th, having a real underdog performance, I've got to say, here tonight. Not somebody that we've mentioned. Cameron Dowd's a name that we've mentioned numerous times. He's on the back of Tom for P4. Of course, no Shazoo team orders here, unlike a Legacy division this season as well. But it's Tom now going to play ball with Cameron Dowd, whereas Cameron Dowd's maybe going to play Tom in his own game on that sort of hard compound of tyres. We'll find out very soon as he comes through the hairpin now at turn number 10, through the kink of 11, running down the straight now and just eyeing up the move here on Tom. Quantum eyeing up the move on Tom as well, but Tom has got the legs down in towards the wall of Champion Chicane. Cameron Dowd's got the speed to the inside line. Easy as you like for Cameron Dowd. That might be a 3-second penalty though for him coming up very soon, or certainly a warning for him. Cameron Dowd's in 4th, Tom there in 5th, Quantum there in 6th. Nice move, nicely judged by Cameron Dowd. He's still on the march, even though he's got that 3-second penalty.
Tom will be using Cameron now as well. He's not had anybody in front of him on this hard stint, has Shazoo Tom. But if Tom can stick with Cameron Dowd, never mind. I was going to say maybe bring himself within 3 seconds of Liam Bowman if Cameron Dowd has the pace, which I think he will over Liam Bowman based on wheel versus pad in this race. Tom would be able to get that position and maybe even re-overtake Cameron Dowd for a podium. That was all hypothetical. That's now no longer the case. 3rd, 4th and 5th all got 3-second time penalties. Who looks a beneficiary in all of this? Quantum, 2D and Ryan. They're still all in this train. And again, they'll be hoping for a similar sort of thing from Cameron Dowd so that they could all inherit some positions here.
Definitely so, and obviously with Kai Pearson as well, just coming up towards the front end of the field, Joe Murphy and Kai Pearson. Kai Pearson getting locked up on the brakes again. He's losing time consistently out of that chicane. So again, he might put himself in a position where he picks up a 3-second penalty because he just flies over the chicane just trying to get time. So that could also play into Quantum, 2D and Ryan's hand. Yes, they're going to be further up they're further behind compared to those guys up the road, but every single penalty counts around this track, and every single penalty will matter towards the end of the race, as Lou there has now become the latest retirement into the pit lane to retire the car. So the BRT man is out from 15th position out on track. Of course, only the top 10, like Legacy Division, picking up points here in WOR Console Tier 1. And if you are wanting to catch more action, I will certainly be at my fine best on Tuesday night alongside Jota for WOR Legacy Division round number 10 of the championship, I believe, coming up. That I will come through with the calendar very shortly. Joe Murphy will lead the way, Kai Pearson in 2nd, Liam Bowman there in 3rd. If I'm not mistaken, just looking a very quick look at Legacy Division, it is going to be in Monza, if I'm not mistaken, this week. So Monza, Templar's speed, we've got plenty of speed out on track at this stage here in Canada. But Templar's speed, if you do want to tune in, 7:15 on Tuesday night PC, also going to be happening, or was going to be happening, but they're on their Easter break, so they're not going to be happening as Tom retakes Cameron down to 4th.
It does indeed. Tom now using those hard tyres to the better effect and has the DRS, of course, to defend. I like this going on between Tom and Cameron Dowds. They are not showing any sort of I can't think of the word, but they're not giving way for each other, it has to be said, despite their team allegiances. Anyway, I was going to talk about Lou, saying that I can't blame him for retiring because of what happened between him and Schumacher. Schumacher's left the session. He's been lapped. Who cares at this point with regards to what's happened to him? As Tom is 2.8 now behind Liam Bowman. So these guys are definitely quicker than the Flying Scotsman #1 in this race. But of course, Cameron Dowds wants that to be his position on track as well. These guys will be fighting because their 3-second penalties between them will determine positions at the end of the race.
Yeah, and Cameron Dowds, Flying Scotsman 2.0, is about to get the move back done on Tom, running down the straight in towards turns 13 and 14. Easy as you like down the straight there. From the Scotsman, he is through there into 4th position. Now, we could get in a scenario where we could have Flying Scotsman 1.0 and 2.0 fighting out on track, and that is going to be consistently confusing for you guys at home. So I will just go by Liam Bowman and Cameron Dowds for 3rd and 4th position if that battle ever happens. And judging by Liam Bowman's pace, obviously losing time to Kai and Joe, obviously they're within DRS trains ahead. Liam Bowman's in a bit of no man's land because Cameron Dowds and Tom, yes, they're consistently fighting, but they're in a DRS train as well. So they've got to try and counteract Liam Bowman ahead. I think Liam's got more time on Cameron Dowds than necessary. 2.5 seconds the gap. That will close down the gap before the end of the race. I guarantee you that. But Liam Bowman there in 3rd, in a bit of no man's land. Everyone else in behind's in a big old DRS train. That's not going to suit him well. Neither is the fact that the guys ahead are 5.5 seconds up the road, and it seems like not knowing that he's not going to get any DRS because Schumacher even is getting involved in this battle for the race lead. He thinks he's in the battle for the race lead. Probably isn't. Joe Murphy there leading the way, Kai Pearson in 2nd, Liam Bowman there in 3rd, and Schumacher's AI is going around on track just behind these guys. So this could get quite interesting.
No, he's still in the race. He's just been lapped, I think. Yep. So he's carrying on. Regardless, sorry, I got that mixed up between him leaving the session and being lapped. So, yeah, classic. He's been lapped in a Tier 1 race.
Ooh,
nice one. Great job, Flopman. And Gabble side by side into turn 1, inside into 2. Gabble runs a little bit out wide there. Tried to sort of push Flopman out wide. Flopman gets the exit, the traction coming out of 3 and keeps the position into 4. Again, all for position. Nobody really benefiting from penalties because they're all, apart from Flopman and Zorzo, on 3 seconds. The latter two are on 6 seconds.
Yeah, they are indeed. Liam Bowman, Cameron Dowds, Tom all on 3. Brandox, Jerome on 3. Gabor 3. Zozel 6, Thomas covers 3. Schumacher doesn't care that he's on 16 seconds worth of penalties, to be honest. Kai Pearson, though, cares about the race lead. On the back of Joe Murphy, running down the straight into the World Champion chicane. Job done even before he reaches that part of the track. Kai Pearson now through on Joe Murphy for the race lead. Important for the championship, this as well. Kai Pearson, of course, leading the championship coming into tonight. Joe Murphy, his thin hopes at this stage, at the halfway stage of the season, to try and get involved. He's having a very, very good go of things, though, out on track. And now Kai Pearson's got 68% of ERS. Joe Murphy in behind, 43% of ERS. So that is going to be the deciding factor, I think, in this race. Kai Pearson, 27% more ERS. It is very difficult, not knowing that Schumacher's been a complete and utter nuisance in behind you either. That is going to be Joe Murphy's absolute worst nightmare in behind him. But Joe Murphy there in 2nd. He's just got to keep a cool head. He's got to keep within that ERS range. But Joe, it is so difficult, I think, for Joe Murphy to try and gain that ERS back because Kai Pearson is at such an advantage. 23% of ERS is going to be very difficult to come back from unless Joe Murphy forces Kai Pearson to use that battery.
I think he might be okay, to be honest, Joe Murphy. Of course, one of the downsides when he took the lead was that Kai Pearson was going to be in a position to save more battery than what Joe Murphy can.
What the hell is he doing?
Oh, why? Why do that? I mean, you're fully allowed to. Fully allowed to unlap yourself. But driving through the battle for the race lead, goodness me, but the DRS seems to be doing a lot of the work for Joe Murphy. On board with him, not using any ERS. He's gaining enough. I think he's got slightly less in terms of downforce than Kai Pearson, based on what I saw in qualifying, just from the top speed. So I think Joe Murphy could be fine regardless.
Yeah, I think he could. He was lifting and coasting, actually, coming into the chicane there, turns 1 and 2, just in towards turn 1, gained about 3% of ERS there on him. Apologies again by the audio cutting out very momentarily. Hopefully we can get that back very soon indeed for the final 4 laps here. Indeed, in Canada. Kai Pearson leading the way, though. Joe Murphy there in second. Liam Bowman there in third. The sound should now hopefully be back. And there we are. We are back now with the sound at least. Joe Murphy on the back of Kai Pearson, though. Battle for the race lead. Thank God Schumacher's gone, is what I think they're both going to be saying for each other after the race, because Schumacher was a complete nut of nuisance in behind, didn't need to be there, and now Joe Murphy and Kai Pearson can decide like men out on track who was going to win this race without the need of any outside interference, and Schumacher they're down in 16th position. Kai Pearson leading the way, 0.2 of a second. Joe Murphy there in second. We're getting no more safety cars in this race. We've only had the one, I think, in this race, which has been really good from our perspective. Joe Murphy on the back of Kai Pearson for this race lead. It is this race lead and this battle that potentially could determine the season entirety, because Joe Murphy is off the pace in terms of the championship. Kai Pearson, though, needs this to extend the championship lead coming into tonight, and Quantum picks up a 3-second penalty. It's going to bring Ryan and Tudi into play, potentially for podium, and speaking of which, Quantum's just been overtaken by Ryan coming through turn 4.
Yeah, he has, and 2D lining one up on Quantum and Ryan. Might have to be a brave double overtake if he gets the opportunity down the back straight. Joe Murphy, on the other hand, he's now level on battery with Kai Pearson. He's done enough in terms of regenerative performance to even get his nose alongside Kai Pearson coming through turn 10. Will he take the race lead now? Will he hope that Kai Pearson goes for it again?
And what the hell is he doing?
Down. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's trying to avoid a penalty there, but he's so far up the road that why does it matter? Cameron Dowds is ahead of Liam Bowman. That's an on-track position, and if all goes well behind him, could be securing a podium, but I think it's still Ryan in that position to be on the podium based on the deltas between the drivers at the moment. Schumacher's come into the pits for no reason whatsoever other than to fuel his own ego and score the fastest lap, but regardless, DRS games are about to happen. Kai Pearson wants to be behind on the final lap. Joe Murphy wants to stay behind on the final lap. Here we go then, 1.5 to go.
And Joe Murphy's got more ERS than Kai Pearson, so exactly what I said about, 4 laps ago now has come true. Joe Murphy needed to try and get Kai Pearson to use that battery up. He has used that to an extent, but Joe Murphy has saved more battery and he's got 3% more. That 3% is going to be absolutely crucial, let me tell you, on this final lap of the race. A bit of a lock-up there from Kai Pearson. That, again, is another weakness. He's been locking up going into the final chicane, going into the hairpin as well, and it brings Joe Murphy now into play. Joe Murphy, hopefully, is not going to go for the race lead. He's not going to be drawn into this. He's actually going to go for the race lead to the inside line, in towards turn 1. But it's not bad because it's the same DRS detection point, and that's shared, and he's now going to have the DRS running down the straight. This is now Joe Murphy's time to try and cut away. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think it's Schumacher getting the way and being a complete and utter nuisance there into the hairpin on other cars, but Joe Murphy leads through turn number 1. Kai Pearson there in second. Kai Pearson's race still not over and done with. 5% more in terms of battery. Uses a bit of that up now coming through turns 3 and now 4. Joe Murphy though leading. Kai Pearson in second. It's between these two for the race win. And Joe Murphy, I just get the sense, Joe, he's just beginning to pull away coming through the more technical part of the track.
I think he's known this all race, where he's strong against Kai Pearson. And I think some of that comes down the straights, but that's not going to be easy to maintain when you've given the championship leader ammunition in terms of DRS down the back straight. Here we go then, there's the detection point. Kai Pearson will have it. And 4/10 now is the gap on the exit of the corner. Worst exit for Kai Pearson. He's not got a good run at all. He's burning every bit of battery, as is Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy flashes first. Here comes Kai Pearson. He's going to the inside at the final chicane. The Wall of Champions awaits. Brilliant Joe Murphy to hold it around the outside. Could be a photo finish. Oh, it is. Joe Murphy takes his second win of the season. Amazing scenes. They go wheel to wheel across the line. Brilliant, brilliant stuff.
And the speed came in for Kai Pearson, albeit a little bit too late, unfortunately. Kai Pearson had a bit of a poor exit. You saw Joe Murphy there use up that overtake mode, coming straight out of the corner. Kai Pearson didn't. Kai Pearson had to wait until the kink of turn number 11 to use it up. That's what cost him the race. 700th of a second, that's what cost him the race. And Joe Murphy takes a win. What a brilliant defense that was from him. What a brilliant attack that was from Kai Pearson. And well, as what a brilliant battle we had on the final lap of the race, even though the cameras didn't do that justice whatsoever. It is a fantastic win, though, for the Brit Joe Murphy. That's exactly what he needs to be brought back into play in terms of console tier 1 and in terms of the title fight. Kai Pearson in second in the end. He had to try and fight. He wouldn't be wanting that straight to be a lot longer down there in towards turn number 1. That would have been a great race. Justin saying that was a sick. Matteo saying what a defence that was. Absolutely brilliant. Maybe the best defence I've seen around Canada. Maybe one of the best defenders I think I've seen maybe since Sunderland in League One. But there we are. That is a fantastic win for Joe Murphy out on top. And he in turn gets 25 points and gets in the title fight on Kai Pearson.
He does indeed. That was brilliant from Joe Murphy. I can't put it any more simply from that. We thought he might have been in the wrong, actually, for overtaking in the first place and leaving himself that vulnerable to Kai Pearson. But he measured it. That was absolutely insane defending. 0.07 of a second. I think the closest tier 1 finish of the season. Because we've had closer in qualifying, but the race is where the points are scored. Joe Murphy walks away with all 25 of them for the second time this season. Kai Pearson, another podium. Again, he will be in his head going, I should have won 5 in a row, but that's not quite been the case. Ryan is on the podium, not by much over Cameron Dowds, who I think might well leapfrog Liam Bowman in the championship after that result. 2D Tom Quantum, Brando Bowman and Zorzo round out the top 10.
Yeah, fantastic race out on track there in Canada. And oh my word, it certainly lived up to expectations. It might have not been the sort of PSGL clean race that we had there, but in the end, absolute chaos and carnage with the wet conditions, absolute chaos and carnage with that ending as well, and brilliant ending that was. Joe Murphy to take Kai Pearson by 700th of a second. I was convinced Kai Pearson coming out the hairpin had it, but he had such a poor exit. That's what cost him the race win, unfortunately. And in the end, you cannot be giving away just minimal margins. 0.2 of a second. That cuts into, what, a 700th gap at the line. That is heartbreaking for Kai Pearson, but he knows there are better races to come ahead. Joe, I'm going to ask you to try and get the top 3 in if we can.
Yeah, I have said interviews available, so we'll see if anybody has followed that. Nobody's currently sitting in the waiting for interview box, so unfortunately I can't do much until any of them decide to join. Kai always does. I'm not sure about Joe. I don't think he did for Saudi Arabia because of a bedtime. I think that was a joke, but regardless, he was doing something else and didn't join us. It would be good to hear from him, actually, to speak about his great season so far, getting better season after season. We have Kai in. I think Ryan is going to join us as well. Oh, okay. We can't drag Ryan in. He needs he needs a role or something. We'll see if Luke can give him that. But in the meantime, let's drag in our championship leader, Kai Pearson.
Yeah, let's hopefully attempt to drag him in without killing the OBS. I think he is now, though, joined in terms of the interview box. Kai Pearson, first of all, can you hear us?
Yes.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations. P2 out on track. Not the result that you would have been hoping for come the end of the race there. Talk us through that race and talk us through that final lap, because that crucial final lap and that defence from Joe Murphy, just enough to get him across the line and just enough to steal your win away from you.
Yeah, I feel like I used a bit too much battery throughout the lap. So I started derating a bit at the end of the long straight. But yeah, I also I could not see the meter board at all, so I shot myself, so I just broke way too early. And he hung it on the outside.
And in the end, thin margins, 700th of a second in the end. It's absolutely gutting for you, and I can tell in your response it's absolutely gutting for you. But a P2 finish, though, nonetheless, and only coming up short by, what, 700th of a second? It's still a solid drive. Still a solid race from your perspective. Talk us through what happened, though, at the start, because what we didn't have a clue what was going on half the time. The spray being kicked up. God knows what happened to you coming through turn number 1 and cutting the corner.
So we had a poor start. Me and Cameron had overstay at the same time, so we went into each other. And then we were 3 wide. And then I had no clue where to brake. As soon as I touched the brake, the rear just locked. So basically had to go straight. And Crispy was shouting at me saying don't go back on track quickly because it'll give me a 10-second penalty. So I was just going so slow to make sure I didn't get a penalty for cutting turn 1.
Yeah, definitely so. And luckily you didn't get a penalty. I don't think you're going to be given that penalty anyways for cutting turn 1, judging by what was an absolute manic start, by the way, as well. But congratulations on the P2. Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you. Any questions?
Kai, well done on the podium. Close finish, as we saw at the end there. Joe, you've got to hand it to him. Brilliant defence at the final corner, as frustrating as it was for you.
Yeah, no, it's frustrating. I think he went more of a wet setup because my straight line speed was so much better, but he just lost me on the at the end of a corner because his traction was way better with the extra rear wing. But yeah, no, fair enough to him. Good victory.
And for you, yes, you do extend your championship lead over Bowman and over Cameron Dowds, but only halfway through. It's not over. There's not many races. There's only 5, but it's 5 more where things can still go very, very wrong in that time. You possibly fear a DNF could sort of swing the momentum back again, couldn't you?
Yeah. I know Bowman's last 4 tracks are really good for him as well, so it's good to extend the lead on him in this race.
All right, cheers, Kai. Thank you very much.
And that is it as well from my perspective. Yeah, thank you very much to Kai for joining us in terms of the interviews. And hopefully we can try and get Ryan in. I know he has asked, I think, for...
Kicks him out.
Oh, we kicked him out.
Yeah.
Was he joined on PlayStation by any chance? We might have to go waiting room.
Okay.
He could try join on his phone.
He could do.
He could, yeah.
He could do.
If not, we'll go to him.
I will message him now. Joe, filler content, please.
Filler content. Wow, what do we have for you in the next few weeks? Let's talk about the calendar. I know James will do the Legacy Division plugging in the meantime, but after the break, we head to Monza. Monza in the Legacy Division next week, for all those of you wondering. We then head there in crossplay Tier 1 on April the 5th. And then it's the 4 tracks at the end of the season that Kai was on about being favourable for Liam Bowman. 4 tracks to really keep your eye out on as we approach the end of the game cycle. It's China, last season's season finale on April 12th. Austria at the Red Bull Ring on April 19th. Miami on April 26th. And Brazil on May the 3rd. Mark your date. Mark those dates in your diaries, your calendars, whatever you use to keep track of WOR this season, because we are still in for a really good run of races. So far, I can't recall a particularly bad race.
I think Joel's got the calendar mixed up, I personally think, as well. He's missed that Italy on the 12th, and then China 19th, Austria 26th, Miami on the 3rd, and Brazil on the 10th. That's the calendar I've got, anyways.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Season 17 calendar channel.
Are you?
Have I
got an outdated calendar by any chance?
I don't know.
I have got an outdated calendar.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I've been literally plugging this, saying, oh yeah, the races are going to be a week later. Yeah, go with what Joel said there in terms of the dates, and go with what I didn't say just then. But there we are.
Oh, so we don't have a break next week?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's because of the game. The game's obviously coming out at the end of May. I think they brought it forward a week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I had in my head that after this was a break week, but I've just read that and gone, no, Italy is next week. So I've confused myself. I've confused you. I've confused everybody. Sorry about that. Attempt 2 of getting Ryan in. Here we go. No, it doesn't work.
that has failed. So we might have to join him maybe in the waiting room. But while we try and get that sorted and hopefully get Ryan in either on a phone or we can join him in the waiting room shortly, I can plug you WR Legacy Division that is coming up this week as well. Unfortunately for Console Tier 1 guys, we do have a break in Legacy Division because we are breaking on the 9th of April. It is Italy, round number 10 of the championship in Monza, the Temple of Speed, 75% of the lap taken at full throttle, and hopefully a lot of good action to come there in Italy as well. I did a league race around there, and it was absolute manic in terms of the level of racing that we had, so hopefully it's not going to be like that. Hopefully it's going to be all clean. Italy on Tuesday, so if you do want to tune in for that, you can do, and of course it is at 7:15 p.m. UK time. If you want to also tune in as well for PC going forward, then you'll be delighted to know there's actually no PC going on this weekend. In fact, it would have been Easter. They return for Italy on the 8th of April, then it's China on the 15th, Austria on the 22nd, Miami on the 29th, and then Brazil on the 6th of May for PC. So if you do want to tune in for that, you can do. And those are at various times, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time, depending on what tier either you want to support or you're driving in. So that is PC done, and obviously the Legacy Division as well. May as well give it a final plug because we have got 5 races in the season left. After Monza, Miami, Australia, my weekly shout out for Portugal for round 13, then Britain round 14, and then Austria round number 15 on the 14th of May. Hopefully, the time after where Ollie Alexander's won Eurovision for the UK, but there we are.
Brilliant. I know you love your Eurovision, so I will. I'll credit that that reference there. Should we join Ryan? We've got to have a quick word from him, surely. Let's do that.
Right, I will join you in there very shortly indeed. There we go. Hopefully that all now works, and hopefully Ryan can now hear me.
Hello.
There he is. We can now hear him. It is Mr. NLR Ryan. And Ryan, P3 out on track. Obviously, penalties having a big factor within that race. P3 for now, though, out on track, beating Cameron Dowds, I think by 0.2 of a second to the line there as well. Talk us through that race because it was pretty manic.
Yeah, I mean, before I tell you what happened in the race, I didn't expect it to be that high up. I haven't done any practice before this. So yeah, quite happy with it. I don't care if it's P3 or P4 now, but yeah, the race was interesting. I was quite happy that we had some rain at the beginning, and with that interesting turn 1 and lap 1, I gained some positions. I think I was up into P8 or P9 it was. And yeah, from there on, it was just trying to survive, not getting any damage or warnings. And yeah, when the rain started to ease off, it was a quite hard decision if I stay out or not, because I had Tom 3 seconds ahead of me. So I decided to just stay out for another lap, which was a huge mistake. It dried up pretty quickly after turn 3 it was. And yeah, after that, as you said, I gained quite a lot from the penalties ahead. But yeah, I don't mind, to be fair.
I don't mind, to be fair, either, because I think P3 is a very, very good, solid result. It just comes to show you kept your nose clean within that race as well, more than anything in terms of the driving standards as well. Talk us through what happened throughout the field, because we had one wild Schumacher coming through the field from that safety car restart. Did you get involved in anything with him?
Yeah, I saw a wild Williams crossing the track before turn 5 it was. Quite shocking to see someone crossing the whole track, and then Tom it was braking ahead of me, and everyone braking and everyone spinning. I don't even know what happened. I have to watch it back.
I have to watch it back, and Jensen certainly put up on social media, which I'm going to be commenting about after this stream is finished, certainly. Joe, though, I'm going to come across to you. Any questions?
Yeah, Ryan, congratulations. A podium finish for you. Of course, track limits a big talking point this evening. How was it in the wet conditions and the transition over to the dry? Because it's easy to get a bit caught out by the increase in grip, isn't it? And start doing very silly things with the track limits.
Yeah, I would have loved if it stayed wet for the whole race. As I said, I didn't practice, so rain was good to have. But I think I got my first warning straight in lap 1 when I broke a bit too late for the final chicane, and everyone went wide, and I just decided to go through them. And I think the second warning, I had 2 warnings in the end. It was, yeah, actually between the changing point between rain and the dry. Yeah, I think it was actually in this lap, yeah. So after that, it was quite easy to adapt to the conditions.
And reserve podiums don't come around too often. Have you got your eye on any more appearances this season? Good tracks for you?
No, I won't practice for the remaining races.
Fair enough. Well done, mate.
Yeah, he'll be too focused on getting his revenge back on Monday night, that is for sure, after GLG will put him in the wall in France.
Come on, James. Stop it.
Terrible for me. But no, I will let you go and enjoy evening, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Have a good one.
Very welcome indeed. And that has rounded us off very neatly indeed for tonight in terms of the interviews. Big thank you to Kai Pearson. Big thank you, of course, as well to Mr. NLR Ryan for joining us in the comms box once again for the interviews. Always fascinating to hear, I've got to say, the interviews from the guys out on track. And hopefully Ryan can put a little bit more practice in, because if he put no practice in for P3, goodness knows what he could get next week, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all drivers are going to say that. I mean, sometimes there's a psychological battle. Do I practice for the rewards of getting taken out or something bad happen, or do I not practice and just, you know, just see how it goes, see how I feel in the race? You've got to weigh up those things. And I think for Ryan, being in a reserve position, he can afford to just lay back a little bit and not really put his full attention in. But always good to hear from him. A well-deserved podium considering the circumstances. Massively tight in that midfield battle, you have to say. Beyond Kai Pearson and Joe Murphy this evening, it was a bit of a melee.
It was a bit of a melee. It was a bit of a mess. And there's going to be a lot of steward reports that Gareth and Joe are going to have to cover on next week's live stream. That is for sure. A reminder of the, well, I can only describe it as the out-of-date calendar that has been shown now on your screen. Italy is next week, not the week after on the 12th of April as I thought, but it is the week on the 5th. China on the 12th, then Austria on the 19th, Miami on the 26th, and then Brazil on the 3rd of May. And that is going to be very interesting indeed, that title finale. We've got Joe Murphy, we've got the likes of Cameron Dowd, we've got the likes of Liam Bowman. Kai saying as well about Liam Bowman potentially coming good in the final 4 races of the season. That will be an interesting watch. You can catch all the action live next week for Console Tier 1 and Tier 2 on Friday night, of course, along with other tiers that go on Thursdays, 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time if you do want to watch that. Final plug as well for Legacy Division Tuesday night if you want to see me hopefully not fumble over my words and hopefully not slander Joe in terms of Leicester City. We will be live though, myself and Jota live for Legacy Division on Tuesday night, and that is on at 7:15 p.m. on the dot UK time, and we will look forward to seeing you there at the Temple of Speed in Monza. But we're going to end off the stream right about now. Big thank you to our sponsors, Next Level Racing and the Grid Finder. Big thank you, more importantly, to Joe for joining me in the commentary box. And hopefully, Gareth will be back next week. A big thank you, though, for me being allowed to fill in for that. But we're going to round it off here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the stream, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell if you're brand new to the channel. We're going to be back with you. Well, Joe and Gareth will be back with you next week. I'll be back with you on Tuesday for WOR Legacy Division. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.